All right. Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive into 30 days to sell cars.
Yeah, always exciting.
We're going to be tackling days 14 and 15 today.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I'm really excited about with these 2 days?
I'm all ears.
It's like how to figure out who are the people who are ready to buy like right now,
Yeah.
and then how to kind of like re-engage everybody else who's maybe, not quite there yet.
Right, got to prioritize. Right.
Yeah. Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. Efficiency is key in sales, especially in a time-sensitive campaign like this. Think of these 2 days as like fine-tuning your engine,
Right.
focusing your energy where it matters most.
Okay, I like that. I like that a lot. And speaking of fine-tuning, we have a cool tool to help us do just that. It's called the Daily Task Sheet for sales teams.
Oh, yes.
But before we even get into that, let's talk about like these high potential leads. Like what separates them from the rest of the pack? What are those telltale signs?
Well, what's fascinating about these high potential leads is they're already showing us they're interested, they're engaged. It's not just passively watching, they're doing things. So we're talking about people who are opening your emails, clicking on those links, maybe even responding to your text messages.
So they're like raising their hands like, hey, I'm interested. Tell me more.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's not even just email and text. Have they clicked on any of your YouTube ads? Did they submit an inquiry through the campaign? These are people that are really taking those first steps, going beyond the casual browsing.
Got it. So it's the ones who are clipping, they're watching, they're reaching out. Are there any other clues we should be looking for? Like anything that helps us really read between the lines and understand their level of interest?
Yeah, and this is where it gets really, really interesting. You can look for patterns. If someone's repeatedly interacting with your content, like they're opening multiple emails, visiting your website multiple times, they're doing their research, and that really tells you they're seriously considering making a purchase.
Right. Consistent engagement is a pretty strong signal. It's like they're saying, okay, I'm intrigued. Let's dig a little deeper. What about the types of vehicles they're looking at? Does that tell us anything?
Oh, absolutely. Are they clicking on SUVs, EVs, luxury models? This information can be super valuable in personalizing your approach. Imagine knowing a lead's preferences before they even walk in the door. That allows you to tailor your pitch, highlight specific features. Ultimately, it helps create a more meaningful connection.
Yeah, that's super valuable. Okay, so we've identified these eager beavers, these high potential leads who are practically waving their wallets at us. Now, how do we make sure we're giving them the VIP treatment?
That's where the daily task sheet comes in. This tool, and by the way, it's available for download, is designed to really help you organize that follow-up process, making sure none of these hot leads slip through the cracks. Think of it like a playbook to help you really orchestrate those interactions with your sales team.
Okay, breaking it down for us. Love it. Can you walk us through some of the key elements?
Sure. So first of all, this sheet's all about assigning specific tasks to individuals. Who's calling? Who's texting? Maybe you even have a strategy for LinkedIn DMs. But this level of organization keeps everybody accountable and makes sure those high potential leads are getting that personalized attention. We're not just, throwing darts in the dark. We're strategically guiding those conversations towards booking appointments, scheduling those test drives, and ultimately getting those cars sold.
I love it. So it's all about delegating those tasks,
Yeah.
tracking that progress, making sure everybody's on the same page. Like literally no lead left behind.
That's it.
It's like a command center for your sales team.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm definitely sold on the task sheet. But what about everybody else? The folks who haven't quite reached that high potential status. How do we re-engage them and remind them about all the amazing stuff that's going on, all the deals that they're missing out on?
Right. Got to reel them back in. That's where core email 2 comes into play. This is the email that's all about rekindling that interest and reminding everybody about all the amazing deals available.
Okay, so strategically, what's the main idea behind this?
It's a friendly nudge. You're reminding people they haven't missed the boat. You want to re-engage those who might have forgotten about your campaign. And at the same time, remind everybody about those offers that are still on the table. The goal is to drive action and get them one step closer to driving off your lot in a new car.
All right, I like it. So the source material mentions a proven structure for this email. What is it?
Okay, so number 1, highlight any ongoing incentives and any limited time offers. You got to create that sense of urgency, that don't miss out feeling. Imagine a subject line like, your chance to upgrade is waiting. Or don't miss these exclusive offers, limited spots available, something like that.
Ooh, those are really good. Okay, I'm writing these down. But we need more than just a good subject line, right?
You got it. We're just getting started. Drive home that value. Remind them what makes this 30 Days to Sell Cars event so special. You could even consider including that day 4 video again. Really reinforces everything visually. And of course, every good email needs a clear call to action. Tell them exactly what to do next, book an appointment, schedule that test drive, or simply learn more.
Okay, so we're painting that picture of value, we're creating that urgency, and we're making it super clear how to take that next step. But once we hit send, what's next? How do we know if this is all working?
Data. That's how we know.
Yep.
We got to be tracking those engagement metrics to see what's resonating and how we can fine-tune our approach for the rest of the campaign.
We don't just throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks, right?
Yeah.
We want to see those results. So what are the metrics that we should be paying attention to?
So for this email, for Core Email 2, we want to see those open and click-through rates. How many people are actually interacting with the message?
Right. Are they even opening it? Are they clicking the links? That's crucial. What I like, responses to the sales team's efforts to follow up. How do we measure that?
We look at response rates. Are those calls and texts being answered? Are they turning into booked appointments?
Okay, so we got email engagement and how effective those follow-up efforts are. What's the, final piece of the puzzle here?
It all comes down to conversion rates. How many of those leads are actually turning into booked appointments and, even better, sales? That's the ultimate measure of success.
Right, are we actually selling more cars? That's what we want to know. Okay, I see how this all fits together. We're tracking everything from that initial did they open it all the way to did we shake hands on a deal?
Exactly. And by monitoring these metrics, we learn what's working. And what's really cool is we can use this data to fine-tune things as we go.
So we're always learning and improving. I love that. But before we get too far ahead, let's make sure our listeners are with us.
Yeah, good point.
So to recap, what we've talked about so far are 2 key strategies for days 14 and 15 of 30 Days to Sell Cars. First, we're zeroing in on those high-potential leads. These are the folks who are actively engaging, responding to texts, opening emails, showing us they're interested. We even talked about looking for those subtle patterns in their behavior. Like if they keep coming back to our content, that could really reveal their true level of interest.
Absolutely. And don't forget, we have that daily task sheet for sales teams to keep us organized, to make sure we're giving those valuable leads the attention they deserve. It's all about efficiency,
Yeah.
Not missing a beat.
Right. We don't want to leave any money on the table. Okay, then we talked about that core email too. That friendly reminder to our audience that there are still deals to be had. We discuss highlighting incentives, creating a sense of urgency, and having a clear call to action. And of course, sticking with that proven structure that we talked about.
We even came up with some awesome subject lines, right?
We did. And remember, we're not just sending random emails out into the void. We're strategic. We're trying to connect with our audience in a meaningful way. And of course, we talked about the importance of tracking everything, open rates, click-through rates, response rates to our team's follow-up efforts, and those all-important conversion rates from leads to actually getting folks to book those appointments.
That data is crucial, helps us see what's working and how to fine-tune as we go. We're not just guessing here, we're making decisions based on real information.
Data-driven decisions. Love it. Okay, but before we move on, I think it's important to remind our listeners just how valuable this all is.
I agree. Imagine you could actually predict which customers are most likely to buy before they even step foot in your dealership.
Wow.
Right? By applying these strategies, by really digging into that data, you can actually get pretty close.
That's powerful. That's like having a crystal ball for your sales process. And speaking of valuable tools, folks, don't forget to download that daily task sheet for sales teams. It's truly a game changer.
Absolutely. It'll keep you organized, on track, and make sure you're not missing any opportunities.
All right. So far, we've covered identifying those high potential leads, crafting that core email too, and how to use the daily task sheet like a pro. But there's another platform we got to talk about, LinkedIn.
Oh, yeah. LinkedIn, the social media haven for professionals and car salespeople too, of course.
That's right. And it's often overlooked, but it is such a powerful tool for connecting with those potential buyers. And, our source material really emphasizes consistency when it comes to LinkedIn.
Right. Remember our deep dive from days 10, 12, all that work, crafting profiles, connecting with prospects, sending those personalized messages.
Yeah. It was like we were setting the stage for something big.
Exactly. Think of it like planting seeds. Now it's time to make them grow.
Okay. I like where this is going. So we're not just blasting out generic messages and hoping for the best.
Definitely not. We're building relationships over time. We're establishing our dealership as a thought leader and a trusted resource.
All right. I'm seeing the big picture here. We're being strategic and consistent. So, practically speaking, what are some tips to really make the most of LinkedIn?
Well, just like anywhere, first impressions matter. So those profiles, they got to be top-notch.
Right. Showcasing that expertise, highlighting those accomplishments, making sure their profiles really scream professionalism.
Exactly. Think of them as a digital resume. They need to be polished, compelling, and a reflection of your dealership's commitment to excellence.
Okay, so we've got those profiles looking sharp. What's next?
Keep sending those connection requests to leads that fit your ideal customer profile. This is how you expand your network and create opportunities.
So we're not just connecting with people we already know.
Yeah.
We're actively looking for new prospects.
Exactly. And when you send those requests, make them personal. Don't just hit the connect button. Craft a little message, explain why you're reaching out, what you can offer.
Like, hi name, I saw we both share a passion for classic cars. I'd love to connect. Or, hi name, your work in the auto industry is impressive. I'd love to chat about the latest trends. Something like that.
Perfect. That's how you make a genuine connection and stand out from the crowd.
It's all about being authentic and building that rapport.
And once you've made that connection, don't underestimate the power of those direct messages, those DMs.
Okay, so how do we craft those in a way that'll get people to actually respond? Is there a secret formula?
Well, first of all, keep it brief. People are busy.
Right, no novels.
Exactly. Get to the point. Our source material suggests referencing your dealership's articles, blog posts, maybe those event incentives. It sparks interest.
So if we have an article about the latest electric vehicles, we could send a DM like, hey, name, thought you might find this article on EVs interesting. We're also offering some sweet incentives on our electric models right now. Let me know if you want to know more. Something like that.
Perfect. You're providing value, highlighting something relevant, and encouraging interaction.
And of course, we're tracking all of this, right? We want to see what works best.
Always tracking. Just like those email campaigns, you got to be data-driven with LinkedIn. Track those requests, your messages, your response rates. That's how you fine-tune and get the most out of it.
Data, data, data. It's the key to everything. Okay, so we're being consistent with our outreach, we're making it personal, and we're tracking our progress. What else can we do to really shine on LinkedIn and become the go-to source for everything automotive?
Content.
I knew you were going to say that. You always preach the gospel of content marketing.
It's not just a gospel, it's a fundamental principle. Think about it. What are people wondering about? New car technology, maintenance tips, financing options.
We want to be that helpful resource. Give them the info they need to make smart decisions.
Exactly. And there's so many ways to do it. Blog posts, articles, videos, infographics. The possibilities are endless.
And we can even repurpose content from other places. Like, remember that video from day 4 of our 30 Days to Sell Cars program?
Absolutely. Don't let good content go to waste. Share it on LinkedIn. Reach a wider audience.
Okay, so we're sharing valuable content, connecting with people, sending those personalized messages. We're building a pretty solid LinkedIn strategy here.
We are. But here's a pro tip. Don't be afraid to get creative.
Ooh. I like when you say that. What do you mean?
Well, how about a live Q&A session on LinkedIn? Answer questions about car buying, financing, maintenance, live interaction, showing off your expertise.
Love that. It's like a virtual showroom where we can really connect with people and address their concerns in real time.
Exactly. Or you could even create a LinkedIn group for local car enthusiasts. Build a sense of community. Position your dealership as the go-to resource.
Now, those are some cool ideas. I could practically see the engagement and leads rolling in.
Me too. But we should probably rein in our LinkedIn brainstorming for now. We need to circle back to those high potential leads we identified earlier. We've assigned those follow-up tasks. We're tracking everything with the daily task sheet. Now let's really dig into those follow-up strategies.
Okay, let's break it down. What makes for effective follow-up communication? What separates the pros from the amateurs?
Well, speed is crucial. You got to be quick with those responses.
Right. Can't let those hot leads go cold.
Exactly. The faster you respond, the better chance you have of keeping that lead engaged and moving them towards a purchase.
So no more waiting 3 days to return a call or a week to answer an email. The game has changed.
It really has. Responsiveness is key. Ideally, you want to be responding to inquiries within 24 hours, if not sooner.
Okay, speed is essential. What else?
Our source material is really big on setting clear goals for every interaction.
So before we even pick up the phone or start typing, we need to ask ourselves, what do we want to achieve with this conversation?
Exactly. Are we trying to schedule a test drive, gather more information, address a concern, Having that goal in mind helps keep you focused and guides the conversation.
Like having a roadmap for your sales interaction. Keeps you on track and prevents you from getting lost.
Exactly. So speed, clear goals, and of course, we can't forget about personalization.
Oh, personalization. It's like our magic ingredient. Makes everything better.
It really does. When people feel like you're talking directly to them, that you understand their needs, they're more likely to respond.
Okay, but how do we make those follow-up interactions feel personal? How do we make it less like a sales pitch and more like a genuine conversation?
Well, first of all, use their name. It sounds obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people skip this step.
Right. No more dear valued customer. We want them to feel like a person, not just a number.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to reference past conversations. Did they mention a specific feature they were looking for, or maybe a trade-in they wanted to discuss? Those little details show you're listening and you care.
It's all about showing them that you're not just trying to sell them a car, but that you're trying to help them find the perfect car.
Absolutely. It's about building trust, building that rapport. And that's essential in any sale, especially when you're talking about something as big as a car.
Okay, speed, goals, personalization. What else should we be mindful of during those follow-ups?
Detailed record keeping.
Ah, the not-so-glamorous side of sales. Documentation. It's important, but not always the most exciting part.
I know, right? But trust me, it's crucial. It's so easy to forget details when you're dealing with multiple leads.
It's like trying to herd cats.
Exactly. So write down everything. Phone calls, emails, meetings. Don't leave anything out.
So we're not just checking things off a list. We're gathering information that will help us down the line.
Exactly. With good records, you can see where each lead stands in the sales process and tailor your approach accordingly.
It's like having a cheat sheet for each lead, so you can always pick up right where you left off. And we definitely don't want to let any leads slip through the cracks just because we forgot to follow up.
Exactly. Good record keeping is essential for making the most of every opportunity. So we've got speed, clear goals, personalization, and documentation. What's the final piece of advice for mastering those follow-up interactions?
Lay it on us.
Don't be afraid to ask for the business.
You know, sometimes we get so caught up in being helpful and building rapport that we forget to actually close the deal.
It happens. But you've worked hard to identify these leads, you've nurtured the relationship, you've presented a great offer. Now it's time to ask for the sale.
Okay, but how do we do that without sounding pushy? How do we make it feel natural?
Frame it in a way that benefits the customer. Instead of, "Are you ready to buy today?" Try something like, "Based on what we've discussed, I think this car would be perfect for you. How about we schedule a test drive so you can see for yourself?"
It's not about pressuring them. It's about guiding them towards a decision that makes sense for them.
Exactly. And if they're not ready, don't get discouraged. Respect their decision, remind them of what you offer, and keep that door open for future conversations.
Because sometimes those long-term relationships are the ones that lead to the best sales down the road.
Couldn't agree more.
All right, so today we've covered a ton. Identifying those high-potential leads, creating compelling messages for LinkedIn, and mastering the art of follow-up communication.
We even touched on the importance of enthusiasm and having the confidence to ask for the sale.
It's been a whirlwind of sales wisdom.
It has. But before we wrap things up for this part of our deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought. Don't be afraid to experiment.
Ooh, I love that. Experimentation is how we learn and grow.
Exactly. The world of sales is always changing, so what worked yesterday might not work tomorrow. We have to be adaptable, try new things, see what works best.
Test different subject lines, tweak your messages, explore new approaches. It's all about continuous improvement.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Embrace the challenge, stay curious, and never stop learning.
Words to live by. But let's bring it back down to earth for a second. What are some things our listeners can start doing right now to put all this into practice and boost those sales?
First and foremost, download that daily task sheet for sales teams. It's the foundation for a successful follow-up strategy. And did I mention it's free?
Can't beat free. Okay, what else?
Take a look at your core email too. Is it engaging? Personalized? Does it create urgency? If not, time for a revamp.
And don't neglect LinkedIn. It's a treasure trove of potential customers. Polish those profiles, start connecting, share valuable content, and get creative with your outreach.
And finally, remember those follow-up strategies. Be prompt, be personal, and have a clear goal for every interaction.
It's all about building those relationships, addressing concerns, and guiding those leads towards a purchase.
Exactly.
So there you have it, folks. A jam-packed episode filled with strategies for identifying those high-potential leads, re-engaging your audience, and maximizing your sales.
It all comes down to being strategic, proactive, persistent, and of course, believing in yourself.
Believe in yourself, work hard, never stop learning. I love it.
Exactly. The sky's the limit.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into days 14 and 15 of 30 Days to Sell Cars, I want to leave our listeners with a few key takeaways. First, embrace a mindset of continuous improvement. Experiment, try new things, analyze your results. Never stop learning.
The world of sales is constantly evolving, so you got to stay ahead of the curve.
And remember, folks, success in car sales comes down to a combination of strategy, persistence, and a genuine desire to help your customers find the perfect vehicle.
Well said.
That wraps up our deep dive into days 14 and 15. We hope you found these insights valuable, and we can't wait to see you put them into action.
Until next time, keep those sales engines roaring.
And keep those deals rolling in.